Ok mọi người, hành trình đi đi xem hầm, đi xem hầm ở dạ đó. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's go. Wow. Beautiful. Đi trong cái đường hầm đó các bạn. Đây là cái hành trình đi xem đường hầm. Hầm của mỏ đá của Iron Mountain đó các bạn. Đấy, này các bạn thấy không? Tối. Đang chạy trong đường hầm đây mọi người. Đấy, wow, look at water. Ooh.
I told you it's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
Rose quartz, beautiful.
Rose quartz. Đường hầm rất là dài các bạn ạ. Đó, đường hầm đó ngày xưa người ta đào mỏ các bạn, đào mỏ than, mỏ quặng đồng, quặng vàng đó, người ta đi vào trong cái đường hầm này nè. Đây là cái mỏ quặng đó, thấy không? Water, nước nó chảy trên cái vách đá này các bạn. Đó, các bạn thấy không? Wow, look at that.
Mineral salt, why?
Yes. Look at that. Yes, wow, nó tối. Các bạn thấy không? Ôi, nước đẹp. Nước ở trong cái đường hầm á, bởi vì đường vô nó lạnh lắm đó. Đến đây là không thấy gì luôn. Oh my god. Open last.
I told you cold.
Này. Wow. Các bạn thấy không? Quay trong đường hầm cho nên nó tối như vậy, bởi vì mình cũng không có mở đèn flash này, mình quay tự động. Đến chỗ nào mà thật ấy thì nó sẽ mở đèn lên cho các bạn đó. Các bạn thấy không? Wow, look at that.
Okay, watch your step when you get off.
Stop.
Stop.
What?
Block.
Uh-huh.
My wife and daughter.
What's that?
My wife and daughter.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, okay.
Thank you. Về đâu? Rồi, đến đây là dừng lại. Xong rồi bắt đầu mình đi bộ. Các bạn thấy lạnh ghê không? Đây, đoàn người đi tham quan đây. Đó. Wow. Đó, đi trong đường hầm thì như cái xe điện, ngồi trên cái ghế xe điện nó đưa mình đến đây, là chỗ này là bắt đầu mình chạy bộ, mình đi bộ. Đó. Người ta cũng bắt đèn ở trong cái đường hầm này. Đó thì lúc trước người ta đào như vậy đó các bạn, bằng một cái máy công cụ thô sơ thôi, mà người ta đào ra như vậy. Đấy. Mình cũng không để ý, không thôi là đem cái đèn pin đi theo, đi vô đây. Đó, đây là cái hướng dẫn viên của mình, rồi thoát các bạn. Đó, see here.
You make a couple of rules because we got almost 30 people, so close quarters.
Cái chỗ này chỉ được là 30 người đứng thôi, không có cho đứng nhiều.
Alright, one of the things that I told you outside is everything was done by hand. So one of the first things that had to be done is you're going to start dynamiting, either to start the tunnel, or to expand the tunnel, or to increase the length of the tunnel. Now, how are you going to make the holes for the dynamite that you're going to need? 13 holes that are 4 feet deep. All right? This is how they did it. This was called double jacking. You'd have one guy holding this with 2 hands, a guy with a much bigger sledgehammer than this, and he'd hit it very hard. And every time he would hit it, you would turn it 1/4 of a turn, and you would be cutting into that rock.
Họ nói là
Okay.
chỉ dùng
Now,
cái đó
Doing
thôi.
it that way, it would
Đưa
take
lên cái
anywhere
tường
between
và
10 to 15 hours to make
đóng
one
lỗ
hole.
rất là
Okay, and you
mệt.
needed 13 of them. So you can see where you'd probably have 6 guys working for up to 3 days just to prepare for the blast. Now, that's before this machine came out, basically at the turn of the century. Now,
What the-
initially it was called the air liner drill. What this did is it spun like this and it went right into the rock. All right? Now, this could make a 4-foot hole in 1 hour, not 15 hours or 10 hours. But there were some complications here. Machines like this, there's always pros and cons. The pro is 1 hour you got the hole, but these are extremely noisy. And you got to remember, there's no such thing as OSHA at this point. These guys didn't have ear protection, eye protection, respirators. They had nothing, okay? They just came in here and worked. So a lot of these guys that worked this machine within a relatively short period of time would be at least a little bit deaf or totally deaf if they worked on that machine day in and day out. The second problem that you have, as you're making this, you're living in a cloud of dust, okay? That causes a problem. Now, if this was a coal mine, you'd always talk about black lung disease. Here it was called silicosis. It's exactly the same thing. That you're breathing in all this dust and your lungs are going to be coated with it. So the ability to take a nice deep breath, these guys could not do it. So certainly their health was going to be compromised by this. Now, when he found that out, he said, I can help with that. I'll make it a water liner drill. So he added a water line. This was, inside of here it was hollow, and you'd shoot water in as you're drilling. Well, that's all well and good, kept the dust down. But now all the water is combined with the dust and dirt, making a slurry coming down here where I'm standing. It's 43 degrees in here. The water is 43 degrees. That's why it's 43 degrees in this particular area. If you want to know what that feels like, go and jump in Lake Superior right now. All right, it's kind of chilly, okay? You're not going to stay in Lake Superior when the temperature is 43 degrees, guaranteed. Now, one of the things that you have to do also is the blasting part of it. Once you had all these holes that were going to be drilled. Now, there are some holes in there, but certainly there's not 13. As you came in here, you probably saw these hanging up. This was for the fuses, okay, that the blaster would use. He would want to make sure that when he lit the fuse, it was going to burn right down to the blasting cap so that the dynamite would explode properly. So he put some cedar chips in here to keep them as dry as possible. The second thing that he worried about all the time was the dynamite. Was the dynamite going to explode? Now, most of the dynamite that was used to make this tunnel was homemade dynamite. Miners made their own to make a few extra bucks. Now, in those days, certainly dynamite is not like the dynamite that we have today. All right, dynamite is nitrogen and glycerin. All right, and in being in an environment like this, where it's damp and it's relatively cold and it can be wet at times, dynamite sometimes does not function very properly unless it is properly taken care of. So what they would do, they would put it in a dynamite heater. The night before they would explode it, they'd make a fire right here in the middle with charcoal, so you're not having the big flames. And you would take those things and you put them right on top of the fire. Now they're
Đây
not
là
going to
những
explode
du khách của mình
because
đi
you don't have a
xe.
blasting cap. You don't have the
Hướng
ignition.
dẫn viên đang
All
hướng
right, that is
dẫn
necessary.
đang
In those days, you could take a piece, a chunk of dynamite, throw it in a fire, and it's just going to sit there and, snap, crackle, and pop. It's not going to explode. So in the morning when the blaster would come in, and let's just pretend there were 13 holes in there. You're going to have 2 holes up on top, 2 in the middle, 2 on each side, and 5 in the bottom. So he's going to come in, he's going to fill each one of those holes with 4 sticks of dynamite.
thấy cái đường
Then he's going to set all the fuses. Now, which one's going to explode first? The middle one. The second are going to be the sides. The third, the top. Now, everything is going to be on the bottom. You're going to have 20 sticks of dynamite down there. Kapow! Everything is going to come back here and come right into the tunnel. Now, after a couple hours, when all the dust settles, then you can start coming in here to get the iron ore off the ground. How did they get it out of here? They had a stable outside with mules and carts. The mules would come in, you'd fill the carts up, and the mules would leave. If you noticed, we're coming uphill a little bit. Not much of a grade, but a little grade. 2 reasons. One, for the mules. Came in, cart's empty. Okay? Could get it up here very easily. Now you're filling those carts up with very heavy stuff,
hướng dẫn cho
but
các
you're
bạn
going
thêm
downhill.
phần 2.
Second reason, there's lots of water
Phần này thì
that's
cái
around
clip
us.
của mình đầy
All right?
rồi,
If
cho
you hit a
nên mình
pool
không
of
có làm
water
được
or a
nữa.
stream of water,
Cảm ơn các
where's
bạn
the
đã theo
water
dõi.
gonna go?
Thì mình sẽ đưa
It's
các
gonna
bạn
go out
đi
of the
tham quan
mine
tiếp
instead of back into
phần
the mine.
2. Ok.
These little things up here are some kind of crazy